Yeah. We really boxing. Who wanted the baddest? Let's see. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO. This how it's finna go. I'ma throw some jabs. Make them think my punch is weaker than I hook his ass. This the ring, not the kitchen, but I'ma cook his ass. Me and him, that's the pro versus the rookie class. All my life I had to fight, but I still love it. Me and BVO got moves that you can't steal from us. And these haters be throwing shots, but I don't feel nothing. I ain't gonna lie, shit, they alright, but we a little rough. We're stepping for the title and facial rival. This ain't no little tussle. Bet I be no bird, being chicken to get your feathers ruffled. Footwork, I'm dancing around my opponent like the Cupid shuffle. Good work, bodies hit the flow, they can't move a muscle. The upside is we ain't in the streets shooting and shooting up. Catch me in the ring, sticking, moving and suited up. I know everybody can eat, but I ain't full enough. Oh, you said it's smoking some beef? I guess I'm pulling up. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BBO Boxing. It's your boy D Free, aka the Oscar De La Hoya hater, aka don't give Tia Female any credit for being the best under 147. What's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Man, you now tuned into the greatest podcast on YouTube. What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, I'm excited. It's fight week, man. It's the fight we've been waiting on. This the real fight right here.
Yeah, it's definitely fight week. There's a lot of great fights on this undercard, man. There's a lot of good fights on this undercard.
Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing that Ramos versus Lubin fight. What about you, man?
Yeah, that's an excellent fight. I'm happy that they made that the co-main event because that has the potential to be the fight of the night, depending on
Hmm.
how Lubin come out and how Ramos comes out. That has potential to be fight of the night. It could potential to be fight of the year.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about it is, a lot of people saying they trying to put Lubin out the past. You agree with that sentiment about they're trying to throw Lubin to the wolves now?
Um, I, I it's I can see that because if you look at Lubin's last couple of fights, he was in there with Fandora, and now they putting him in there with another big puncher, with Ramos. I think this is somewhat a make or break fight for Lubin because he's one of those guys like I said on a couple of other channels that I've been on. He's one of those guys who's good, but he's just not good enough. He has all of the skills. He has all of the potential. He always seems to come up short in the big fights. The only big fight that I can remember that Lubin actually passed the test was the J Rock fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. But J Rock was past his prime when he fought him too, so that's
Yeah.
the crazy part. But
What's
salute to my
going on,
brother
Ricky?
Marky Dan, my man Skywalker, man. What's going on with you, brother? Ricky, what's going on? You said Lubin about to catch another L. Hey, you know
Yeah,
what's
I
funny,
mean,
man? Ramos is exactly what you're looking for in a Mexican or a come forward fighter, man. He's big, tall, strong, and I'm telling you, he might beat Lubin to death, man. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
he really
yeah,
might do
right.
that.
See, and you know what? I hear a lot of people say that about Ramos, but if you go back and look at Ramos' fight, Ramos actually can box, dude. And he gets a lot. He don't get a lot of credit for his boxing ability. He actually can box, and he knows how to cut the ring off. He knows how to set his opponents up. And I know a lot of people say he's a come forward fighter because he tends to overwhelm his opponents with the big shots, but he actually can box.
Hmm. I can see that, but one thing I will say, I don't know if you noticed this too. I don't know how Ramos is making 154, bro.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that, bro.
he's a big kid. He's a big kid.
I
He's a
don't know
big
how
kid.
that brother like he need to be at 175.
Yeah, he's a big kid. Yeah.
uh, He's smart. But my boy Skywalker said it's like Jolette Gonzalez, good but not good enough. He said Lubin about to catch another L unless he got another level. Salute to my brother Skinny Hardaway, man. Send us some love. But I tell you this: if Lubin's able to win, what would that do for Lubin's career? Would that rejuvenate him and put him back in the contender status?
Most definitely, because everybody is looking for Ramos to pretty much walk through Lubin, which I found that very funny because Lubin is not a pushover by any means necessary. But if Lubin can get past Ramos, that put Lubin back in contentions of fighting for a title again, because
Yeah, I think
that's pretty much what they're trying to do with Ramos. They're trying to get Ramos in position to fight for a title.
you know it's funny you say that because I know people are kind of high on Tim Tszyu after that knockout he had against Ocampo, but I really believe Tim Tszyu is just okay. And I think if Ramos or even Mendoza get a hold of him, I think they're gonna beat him to death because I think Tim Tszyu showed me a lot of holes in this game. You notice that as well with Tim Tszyu. He's not who they say he is either, man. He's not. He's just pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he hasn't shown me anything special just yet, and it's mainly because he hasn't been in there with anybody special. I know people say, well, he fought Tony Harrison, but we all know Tony Harrison wasn't the Tony Harrison that fought Jamel Charlo the first time. That's not the same Tony Harrison. And we also know that Tony Harrison has stamina issues, but Tim Tszyu, he looks like he can be a good fighter, but I don't know what he is because he hasn't fought anybody.
Right.
I mean, outside Tony Harrison, he really hasn't fought anybody. So he looked like he could be, but I'm not crowning him there. I think he's one of those fighters where a lot of people give him a lot of hype, and he really hasn't done anything.
I think maybe people put a lot more on that Ocampo knockout, but to me, I'll be honest, man, I don't think he's anywhere as good as his dad was, man, because he don't seem to have that same kind of power. He don't have that same kind of power either. Because I heard that when Kazuzu hit you, man, you felt it.
Yeah, he nowhere near the level of his father. And I think that's the reason why he's getting so much hype because of who his father was. But he's not that level. I don't think he makes it past Ramos. I think Ramos stops him. I think Ramos stops him early too. I don't think he make it past Ramos. I could see him probably beating a Brian Castano because Brian Castano is pretty much tailor-made for him. He likes to come forward. He don't really have no head movement. So he's tailor-made for somebody like a Tim Tszyu. But these other guys that can actually box and got some power, I don't know if Tim Tszyu makes it past him because Tim Tszyu has lapses in his defense. He gets hit. And if you in there with somebody like a Ramos or Jamel Charlo, you probably going to get stopped.
And you know the funny thing is one of my favorite knockouts is when that boy Kazuzu hit
Zab Judah.
Super Judah, man. I'll never forget how fast Super Judah hopped up, man.
And then he went right back down.
My brother Skywalker said, yeah, Jesus Ramos is big. Ricky said, I know how to bait. He knows how to bait you into throwing something he can't make you pay for. Seth Fundora for the shot 2 rounds early. Salute to my man Marky Day. So, or is it Joey Spencer he beat up? I'm confused. Joey Spencer, I thought was good until Jesus Ramos just took him apart.
God. I knew that Joey Spencer wasn't as good as what a lot of people were saying. It was more hype than it was skill, because he don't have no defense. He just throw big shots. He don't have no defense. If he can land the big shots, then he can possibly get you out of there. But he got in there with somebody like Jesus, who those big shots ain't gonna land. And I mean, and that's one of the fights that you could see that Jesus, he can actually box.
Yeah.
So I mean, you in there with somebody where you can't land those big shots, but they also can throw power. He had no problem. He had no chance in that fight.
I'll tell you something funny that let me know that that's real. I was watching Chris Colbert or I don't know how these people say it all types of way, but I seen Curtis Coburn fighting a guy that was tailor made for him. He looked like Tank out there. So I think sometimes some of these guys get bought up and they're not as good as you think, man. But also another fight on there is that long expected prospect. Salute to my brother Juan. He said, but let me ask you this. Do you think that dude is gonna be good, man? That prospect we've been hearing about, 17 years old, making his professional debut on this card.
You tell you talking about
The light skinned kid.
you talking about Elvis Rodriguez?
No, the Floyd's kid that he been talking
Oh,
about.
you talking about Pernell.
No, I'm talking about starts with a C. I can't think of his name. Sorry, everybody. I can't think of the guy's name. He's been taking pictures with Tank, the light skinned kid.
Yeah, that's Pernell.
His name is Pernell?
Yeah.
I thought it started with a C. Sorry.
Oh, Carnell. I keep saying Pernell. Carnell.
Yeah, Carnell. Yeah, Carnell.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. I seen what he did in the amateurs, but it's the amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really don't know. I got to see what he looked like. Because the professionals is totally different from the amateurs.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is definitely going to make a put eyes on him. Will he pass the test? I don't know. He's in there with somebody that's been in the ring for a while, so I don't know. We're gonna see.
You know, in another fight, I don't know if you heard about this guy named Nick Ball and I think it's Isaac Dogbay. They agreed for a fight. So you think that'd be a good scrap? I like Ball a lot. I think he's a pretty good fighter. What you think about him?
Dogbay, he's pretty much over the hill now.
Yeah, he's finished,
pretty
man.
much over the hill. So it's just a showcase fight at this point. They putting him in there with somebody that's a veteran, and if he get past him, then they know, okay, he's ready for the next test. They're using Dogbay as a gatekeeper at this point, because he's way past it.
You know, it's funny. I don't know how good Nick Ball is, man, because he just be going in there like just outclassing people, man. I think, like you said, we got to see a tougher test. But back to this card with Canelo and Jamel, I want to know. I'm kind of surprised. I said Canelo kind of talking a little junk. I usually used to hear Canelo talking crazy. You notice that this time?
Yeah, Canelo normally talks trash. It's the last couple of fights he hasn't been talking like that, because he was talking trash when he was talking to Caleb Plant. He was talking trash with the other guy. I forgot who the guy's name was. But it
You
was
talking about John Ryder?
No, not John Ryder. It was before the Caleb Plant fight. But Canelo normally talks. It's just like the last couple of fights, I think he got humbled when he lost to Bivol, and he ain't really been talking as much. He been kind of quiet on the podium, because he was talking like he was like, Bivol ain't never been in there with nobody like me. I'm the big guy or whatever, and then Bivol pretty much beat him damn near to submission. So I mean,
I like how you talk about that, man. I wouldn't say this submission. That was you could really say that was a draw.
I said damn near.
That was
damn. If Bivol would have stepped on the gas, I think he would have stopped Caleb. I think he would have stopped Canelo if he would have stepped on the gas.
He was scared
to, though.
He was
hurt on the ropes. Yeah, I think
he was scared.
I think he was still worried about the power. And he didn't want to get caught with something. But he had Canelo on the ropes, ready to cast. I mean, ready to wave the white flag. Yeah, but he just didn't step on the gas.
So in this fight, man, I heard Leonard Ellaby speak a good point and said, I think that Jamel can do some of the same things Bivol can do. You think that's going to be the Jamel that we see, the old boxer that we used to see at 154 early on, or this knockout artist we've been seeing lately?
That's what I've been saying. Every time I've been talking about this fight, I said Jamel and Bivol has a similar style. I could see Jamel pretty much doing the same thing that Bivol do, because they fight a similar style. And I think that is the key to Jamel winning. Not trying to go in there and knock Canelo out. The ultimate goal is to win the fight. You ain't gotta knock the man out. If you gotta make it a long and boring fight, in order for you to get the W, that's the ultimate goal, to get the W.
So my man, Dr. Mark, man, showing some love. Hey, I think the funny thing about this fight is I'm just wondering, can Derek James go against a great trainer like a Eddie Reynoso? Eddie Reynoso, as we know, multiple trainer of the year. I don't know if Derek James, the way he got outclassed versus Bomac, if he can go in there with a good game plan. That's my only fear, man. What about you?
I think he can do it. I mean, we saw Shakur outclass Oscar Valdez. We saw Demetrius Bivol outclass Canelo Alvarez. So I think Dirk James can trade Jarrell to outclass Canelo.
Hey, you're rough, man. I forgot who I was talking to, man.
Stop, y'all. Keep talking. Huh? You keep talking, man. And you shut the fuck up. Huh?
It ain't like he got a bunch of zeros behind his fighters. There's a couple of L's back there.
But you know the thing about Eddie Reynoso is I don't think he get enough credit. I think people really sleep on what you see because what I've seen from Canelo as a fighter, go from being more of your typical come forward fighter before he fought Floyd to Floyd changed him into like almost a Salvador Sanchez type of guy where he kind of moves and fights like a black guy. I never thought that Canelo had that type of skill. And I'll ask you this: do you think that Canelo's the best defensive fighter in boxing?
No. I don't think he's the best defensive fighter. I think he's a very good defensive fighter. I don't think he's the best.
He said, "Hey, yo, D Free, me, hold on, it said Free and me are holding it down for the Spanish folk." Hey, I'll tell you this though. The funny thing about these big fights coming up is that you know what? People don't realize that Canelo didn't have a choice, man. And it looks like even though Canelo didn't have a choice, it looked like he don't care. He ready to get whoever's in there. Because I'm telling you, people don't believe me, but he'll probably beat David Benavidez to death. They're about to carry him out like they did Apollo Creed, man, if you get in there with Canelo, man. Because Canelo's a monster. That's the only thing. And I got Charlo winning this fight, but I just worried because Canelo is a monster. That's my only point.
Canelo used to be a monster. Canelo is not a monster anymore. He is not a monster anymore. He used to be. I mean, the last time Canelo knocked somebody out was Caleb Plant, and that was because Caleb Plant gassed out. So he was halfway out by his damn self.
You know the funny thing about that, man? The thing is, if it wasn't for the ref, I mean, Kenny Bayless is the worst referee in boxing. I got to continue to say that he's terrible, man. He really cost that kid, David Benavidez, a highlight knockout because that boy Caleb was in there gassed. I don't know if you hey, when you land on your opponent, you gassed out. But in another note, going away from this fight, a fight that everybody keeps talking about, do you think we'll ever see Sugar Shakur, the Puerto Rican star, versus a killer like Tank?
I think we will. It's just a matter of when we see it. I think we'll see a fight with Shakur and Tank. I think there's still a slight possibility that we'll see a fight with Tank and Devin Haney. But I think it's more of a chance that we will see a fight with Shakur and Tank Davis. It's just a matter of when we will see it.
I think that's the fight, Free. I don't know if you feel that way like I do. I think the fight that we really, really want to see is going to be Devin, the American Dream, Haney versus Tank, man. I think that's the fight. I don't think people understand that. Say what you want about Devin Haney, but Devin Haney is pretty skilled, and I think he'll really push Tank to the limit because I think a guy like Shakur, once Tank finds out that he can't, hurt him, Tank just gonna bully. He just gonna bull rush him, man. It's gonna be crazy.
I mean, I don't think Devin can hurt Tank neither. So, I mean,
I just think Devin's a little bit more talented than Shakur, and he's younger too. So,
because I don't know if he's more talented. He's more flight of foot than Shakur. Shakur pretty much stands in front of you, just make you miss. Devin, he uses his footwork to make you miss, which tends to come back to haunt him in the later rounds because he tends to get hit a lot more because he doesn't have the stamina that he had in the earlier rounds. So I think both of them will eventually probably get stopped by Tank Davis, because at some point Tank is going to land a shot on you, and when he does, it's a matter of, can you stand up to that shot?
And it's the thing. I just wonder, and maybe I could be wrong. Can you tell me what people are seeing when they say that Sugar Shakur is just like monster boogeyman? I don't really see it because I don't see the power that says that. I really don't.
No, I don't think Shakur is a boogeyman. I think Shakur is a very good fighter. But I think he I think he's trying to make himself a superstar without fighting the superstar level fighters as of right now. Because I mean, the only notable names that he fought, to be honest, is Jamel Herring and Oscar Valdez. Those are only notable names. Now there's other names on there, but they're not known like that. But I mean, Joet Gonzalez. Those are the only notable names that's on his resume. Now there's other good fighters on his resume. I wouldn't say they're good fighters, but they're good fighters. But he hasn't fought nobody of the level of a Tank Davis, a Lomachenko, Devin Haney, and those type of guys. So I think he's trying to make himself a star without having to fight those guys in the ring as of right now.
That's a good point. I get what you're saying. It just seemed like it's just so much hype around him. I think the kid's from New Jersey, and I think we haven't had a Black Rican like him in a long time. I don't think we had a cat like what Monk used to call a nigger Rican. We ain't had a nigger Rican like him in a long time that can really fight. I mean, people saying he could be the next Tito, next Tito or the next Miguel Cotto. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Let me read a couple of these comments. My man, Dr. Mark, said that's absolutely ridiculous. DB will mess Canelo up. Now, for you to say that, Dr. Mark, now you my brother and I love you, man. But you got to think about what you're saying. You talking about Canelo Alvarez, the living legend. You talking about him fighting a guy like David Benavidez who's fought nobody. Canelo would beat the sleeves off of him, man. Am I wrong, Freak? Tell my brother Dr. Mark was going.
Dr. Mark is absolutely right. I think David Benavidez will possibly stop Canelo with the amount of punches that. See, the thing is, Canelo, he likes to use his head movement to make you miss. David Benavidez throw nonstop punches. He don't care about missing because he's throwing so many shots. Some of them joints going to land. He's gonna miss a lot of shots, but he's gonna land a lot of shots.
He get hit a lot, bro. He get hit a lot. He get hit a lot.
Yeah, he does. He does get hit a lot. But the thing is, he overwhelms his opponent, and he does have power. And after a while, when he overwhelms you, you think, okay, he's just throwing a lot of shots. They're not gonna hurt. But then he'll sneak some of those power shots in there with those other shots. So I think David Benavidez. I think Canelo knows what he has in David Benavidez. That's why he's not in a rush to get in the ring with David Benavidez, because he had opportunity to get in the ring with David Benavidez. He just haven't taken them.
No, he did not. This was not part of that 3-fight. This was not part of that 3-fight.
No, I'm not talking about part of no 3-fight deal. He had opportunity to get in the ring with David Benavidez, and he didn't take him. You got to remember, Canelo Alvarez can fight whoever he wants to fight. Canelo Alvarez chose to go to 175 and skip over 160 when David Benavidez was the WBC champion. And then when David Benavidez lost the belt on the scale, he decided to come back down from 175 and fight Caleb Smith for that WBC title.
So what we doing here, and if I'm saying this right, you penalizing Canelo Alvarez for daring to be great. That's what you're telling me. So because he wanted to see.
How many times he going to dare to be great going to 175? Because you said he was daring to be great when he went to fight Bivol. So if he already dared to be great when he went to 175 and got the WBC belt, he couldn't have been daring to be great when he fought Bivol.
You got to remember, he beat a legend. He beat Sergey Kovalev.
Okay, so we give him that. Okay, we give him that. He was daring to be great at that time. But when he went to fight Bivol, he wasn't daring to be great. He thought Bivol was an easy payday.
Oh, here we go.
He thought Bivol was an easy payday.
Here we go, my brother Free talking crazy. I knew it was
Hey,
coming.
Canelo said it out his own mouth. He said that man ain't been in the ring with nobody like me. He ain't ready for this.
My brother Ricky said Shakur ain't fighting no one in the near future. Shakur will be the last fight of Tank's career. Shakur don't want to give up any leverage. Shakur is a clown when it comes to that stuff because at the end of the day, if Tank Davis want to fight you, I'll fight you. Fight him anywhere, man. You can fight him in the dressing room. Salute to my brother Willie, old school. My man Vic missing in action. My brother Vic, what's going on, brother? My man Mr. Bended Knee himself. Pause. My man Vic. You said at least Devin giving us a big name fights. That's a fact. Because say what you want, Regis Prograde is a hype job. I do agree with that. He was very matched. He was matched very well. Because we did see Josh Taylor absolutely obliterate him at the end of that fight. But I'll say this, man. The thing that people don't.
I don't know about that.
Man, you don't remember how strong he was coming on,
I don't
man?
know. I'm not going to say that Josh Taylor absolutely obliterated daggone Regis Prograde because there was a lot of talk that Regis Prograde won that fight. There wasn't a lot of people convinced that Josh Taylor won that fight. They wanted to see the rematch because a lot of people thought that Regis won that fight.
And I get what you're saying. Salute to my brother Teach, man. What do you say? Boo Boo's going to get David Benavidez out the way. That's a fact. Boo Boo's going to beat David Benavidez from total post. Because if you remember, salute to my brother Dr. Mark, who was just saying that he thought that David Benavidez could be the living legend. You got to remember this, Dr. Mark. You got to remember this. This is the same guy who let Caleb Plant dominate him for 6 to 7 rounds before he just gassed out. So you get in there with a guy like Demetrius Andre, a slick 6'1", 6 foot southpaw with power. It's gonna be trouble, man. It's gonna be trouble. I think Boo Boo might beat the socks off of this dude that Benavidez because he get hit too much. He's not as good as you seen. I seen him show against Andre Durrell was when he didn't start winning that fight till Durrell got cut. So I mean, we got to be honest about this dude, David Benavidez. That's another guy who's been matched very well, but he's not that good. I heard David Morrell tell him, "I'm gonna take your shoes off your feet," and this cow wouldn't even step up to the challenge. So I don't want to hear no more about David Benavidez.
No, y'all do remember Boo Boo's last fight, right?
He didn't look very good, but that's because it was his
He
first
looked like
fight.
trash. He ain't look very good. He looked like trash. He looked like trash.
I give you that. I give you that. He didn't look good. My brother said
Boo Boo was not beating no goddamn David Benavidez.
my brother Ricky said it's the same way. Chill out. He already been there, but you got to dare to do that. He said, I don't want. My man William said, I don't want. I don't know what fight we're watching. Regis won that fight. William, you just saying that because you like Regis. At the end of the day, and then I hate to bring this up to my brother Free because he don't like to give this guy no credit. But when you beat a guy like Josh Taylor, who unified all the belts at 140, right after Chance Crawford did, and then he fought everybody. Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograde. And Regis, to be honest with you, Regis knocked out 4 bombs in a row, and now everybody want to say he's good. And I seen Zorillo knock him down the first round. So that's the only reason why Devin Haney even took this fight. Because if Devin Haney wanted to be great, he would have called Teofimo Lopez, who we all know is a 2-time lineal champion, former unified champion at 135, who really you can probably say has the best resume at 147. I don't think there's a guy that's been better than Tio, and I think it's kind of a coward duck move that Devin would go to the route of least resistance and not fight a guy like Tio. What do you think about that, Free?
Tio shouldn't have said he retired.
You gotta love that. You gotta love that, bro. He said,
"Tell that man to say he retired because he only got $1 million." That man chose to say he retired after he fought. And come to find out, he ended up getting more money than Josh Taylor.
He
got more money than Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor made $700,000, man. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, Josh Taylor made $700,000, and Tio made $1 million. He got $300,000 more than Josh Taylor.
Well, we just seen Frank Martin turn down $1 million, so $1 million a lot of money. But Tio was just a can man. You can't name a guy better. And I don't want to get on him because we got a lot of people that talk junk and say that BVO Bundini is a big fan of Tio. I'm not a fan of Tio. I just respect Floyd Mayweather type fighters, man. Guys who fight all the guys. I mean, I just respect them type of guys.
You're not a fan of Tio.
Nah. That brother Ricky said he's not slick, he's awkward. Tio ducked and then he ducked again. Who did Tio ever duck? I think if I remember right, I think he beat Nakatani. Then he went and stepped right. Then he stopped right and smashed Richard Coleman, and then he smashed Loma.
And then he ducked Devin and went for Cambosa. He ducked Devin and went for Cambosa and got smashed.
He had to go to his mandatory. He had an IBF mandatory.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He was not. He didn't have the IBF mandatory. They never called Cambosa the mandatory.
That's what that fight was.
What's the word I'm looking for? It was a voluntary that they accept as the mandatory because Cambosa was in line to be the mandatory, but they never called it. They never mandated that fight. That fight wasn't mandated. Tio went ahead and took that fight. That fight was never mandated. He could have fought Devin Haney at that time because that was Tio's word. I'm going to send a contract to Devin Haney. I'm going to send one to Cambosa. Whoever signed, that's what I'm going to fight. And then Bob said, that man can't send no fucking contract.
He said it like that. I love how that brother Free put 100 on 10, man. He said, salute to my brother A1 in the building. He said, Tio Doug Devin. But you got to remember this. This is the thing you forget, Ricky. Devin was the Pride champion. He wasn't the real WBC champion.
Yes, he was.
The owner of the belt called him the Pride champion.
He was.
But let me ask you this, though. Is it not true that Devin Haney got his belt emailed to him twice?
No.
They put the belt through email and emailed it to him twice. So I don't know how you give him that. But I'm not gonna go on him. He
didn't get his belt emailed to him.
well, let me ask you this though. So as we talked about the email champion, reports came out, man, about a big fight that we want to see, man. You just hear about Tyson Fury saying he'd be open to fighting Zane. How would you see that fight going?
Why are you open to fight Zane when you have the unified champion trying to fight you? What now you don't want to be undisputed?
He said his goal was never to be undisputed, which I don't agree with. But I think Tyson Fury want to only fight the best fighters. I mean, in his opinion, that's what he says. Because Tyson Fury went on this long thing. He went on this long thing.
Only want to fight the best fighter, and there's a unified champion who is undefeated at that weight class that's trying to fight you. How you only want to fight the best fighter? Last time I checked, Zane is not undefeated. Zane is not even a champion. He's an intercontinental champion.
But Zane ran into a monster in Herkovich, man. Herkovich is a monster. So I mean, you know,
Herkovich is a step above Joe Joyce. Both of them niggas slow as hell.
I give you that. Herkovich will not win any speed contest. But I'll tell you this about Herkovich: the dude's a monster, man. When it come to boxing, the dude's a monster because who has he
fought to make you think he's a monster? Who has he fought to make you think he's a monster?
Zane.
Zane beat him.
No, he didn't.
No, he got robbed, but he beat him.
He didn't. That's like when you bring up that crazy argument, that crazy nuts argument that you thought that Sweet Pea beat the great Oscar De La Hoya. We gotta look at this. We gotta look at this cards, man, about what happened. We can't go off what we want.
Not that I thought. Everybody that you asked thought the same thing. You haven't had one person yet to say they believe that Oscar won. Everybody said the same thing. So it's not what I thought, it's what everybody thinks.
Hey, this dude is sick. This brother he said BBO having his girl thinking he asked for grape jelly when he really asked for strawberry. This dude is sick. I don't know what that means. That sounds like some jailhouse talk, man. All I can say is this to you, my brother. All I can say is this.
He's a no good, lousy son of a bitch. Hey. That's exactly what he is.
That's all I can say to that, man. But I'll say this, man. The funny thing about it is when you
ain't fight nobody, man.
I guarantee you this. I will put $500 down that Herkovich stops Big Baby. That's how good Herkovich is. He stops Big Baby, puts him to
No, he
sleep,
won't.
out, sleep, cold.
No, he won't. No, he won't. Now, I'm not gonna say Big Baby is the best heavyweight in the world. He still got some holes in his defense, and he still got some things he need to work on. But Herkovich is not on that level to beat Big Baby. He's not on that level. He gets embarrassed by Big Baby. He get embarrassed.
Well,
We just saw Zane outbox Herkovich. We saw Zane outbox Herkovich and won that fight, and they gave it to Herkovich. Zane won that fight. Matter of fact, have we seen Herkovich back in the ring since that fight?
I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen
I'm
him.
gonna say
I haven't
this.
heard nothing from him. I haven't heard nothing from him since that beating he got from Zane.
Well, Zane, you got to remember, Zane is a tricky southpaw, man. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. My brother A1. You know what's funny? I was watching Sesame Street, man, and I seen this guy named Grover, and it reminded me so much of A1. So all I can say is this, A1.
I don't hate the kid.
You don't?
I don't hate the kid, but I just like to put him in the hospital, though. I like to send that to the ambulance.
I'll say this though. I'm excited to hear Tyson Fury actually talk about fighting a boxer, because if you look at Tyson Fury in the ring, say what we want about him, he's terrific. He's a terrific fighter. We've seen him go from being real slick, real jumpy, to really just being a straight up knockout artist. But the thing I'll say is that from what I've been seeing with Zane, I think what Tyson Fury became, I think Zane always has been. He's always been a big, strong southpaw coming to get you out of there. And I honestly tell you this, I think that Zane knocks Deontay Wilder out. What do you think about that?
No.
You don't see that happen?
I see the same thing that happened to Joe Joyce happen to Zane. He's gonna get caught with a right hook, and it's gonna be curtains. No.
You talking about by Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
I think Deontay Wilder might be a little bit too light in the pants, man. Pause.
See
to keep Zane off of him.
The thing is, Zane is not the type of style. He doesn't fight this type of style like a Tyson Fury, who likes to lay on you and overwhelm you. Zane, if you watch the two fights that he fought Joe Joyce, he likes to stay on the outside. And the wrong thing to do is to stay on the outside with Deontay Wilder, who has longer arms than you and has much more power than you. That's the wrong thing to do. I see him going to sleep against Deontay Wilder.
You think he got way more power than him? You sure about that?
No, Deontay Wilder is the only person in heavyweight who has 43 knockouts.
I get what you're saying, but he did fight some cans along the way. I mean,
who has Zane fought? You got like Zane fought the best guys in the damn heavyweight division. Zane fought a bunch of bums.
Zane fought Herkovich, and then he fought Joe Joyce. So he didn't fought some guys, man.
Yeah, he fought Herkovich and Joe Joyce, and ain't neither one of them on the level of a Deontay Wilder. And Joe Joyce slow as hell.
I'll say this, man. I think he's sleeping on him. So I ask you this. So when are we gonna see Deontay Wilder in the ring, you think?
I don't know. They were supposed to be in the ring at the end of this year, but it seemed like AJ and Eddie Hearn is trying to make the Zane fight now. So I mean, I don't know.
I'll ask you this though. So if they made that fight, how do you see that fight playing out?
AJ go to sleep.
You don't think he's improved, man?
He improved a little bit, but he still don't get his head off the line. He's gonna go to sleep.
He's gonna go to sleep. But you know what's so funny? It's funny you say that they're gonna go to sleep. But back to the fight, the main fight that we've been talking about. I'm just wondering, so if Canelo knocks out Jermell, which I don't think it happened, would that make Canelo the best boxer in the world again?
No.
But they say if Jermell, who in my opinion is pound for pound number one, if he knocks out Canelo, he's number one. So which one? So how does that not work? What Canelo would be? That's kind of crazy, man. How in the world would Canelo not get no credit?
Because he's fighting a guy that came up 2 weight classes. Jamel is taking on a guy that was 2 weight classes bigger than him. So if the smaller guy moves up and beat the bigger guy, the smaller guy gets the credit. If the bigger guy beats the smaller guy, he don't really get no credit. That's how things go.
But that's crazy, man.
Just like everybody wasn't giving Earl Spence credit for beating Mikey Garcia. Oh, he beat little Mikey. Same way everybody wasn't giving Tank Davis for beating Leo Santa Cruz, or you beat little Leo Santa Cruz. That's how it works. When you beat the smaller guy, you don't get no credit. But if the smaller guy beats the big guy, he gets the credit.
So basically, if he knocks out Charlo and knocks out Terrence Crawford, he wouldn't get no credit for that.
No, he'll get credit for it, but I wouldn't say he's the best fighter in the world. I wouldn't say he's number one. He still has a monster that he's scared to face.
Who is that monster? Who is that monster?
No, he do not want to fight David Benavidez or David Morrell.
Now, if you said David Morrell, I might give you. I might say you can. You might be right.
I'm saying a monster to Canelo. I'm not saying a monster in boxing, because I believe Morrell is that monster. But to Canelo, David Benavidez is that monster. That man is not trying to face that monster.
But ain't that like a no-win fight?
How?
Because
they in the same weight class.
Because think about this. Just think about this. Boo Boo Andre is a good fighter to people like me and you who watched him come up. I think he's one of the most talented fighters in boxing when he's focused. But he's a terrible fighter. He's a horrible fighter. So he's fighting a horrible fighter. So he hasn't fought nobody to deserve a Canelo shot. Why? Let me ask you this. Now everybody's
he's the mandatory. What do you mean?
But
he's the mandatory.
That's the thing you miss. That's the thing you missing. That's the thing you missing. When he lost his belt on the scale the first time. No, when he lost his belt the first time to the recreational stuff, right? Mm-hmm. They offered him a fight with Arthur Beterbiev, and he turned it down.
Yeah, he wasn't at 175. He was at 160 at that time.
No, he was at 168.
Well, he still wasn't at 175.
We talking about a few pounds away. Free. You moving the goalpost again.
Whether it was a few pounds. I'm not moving the goalposts. I'm telling you what it was. He wasn't at 75. If he was at 75 and they offered him that fight, then yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, he ducked Beterbiev because Beterbiev was a champion. But he wasn't at 175. He was at 168.
This is the thing with you, Free. You don't keep it real, man. He had a chance to fight King Arthur Beterbiev.
What are you talking about?
Why did he fight Arthur Beterbiev, bro?
Dog, he was not at 175. He was at 168. That man didn't lose his belt on the scale at that time. He lost his belt because of the recreational. He didn't lose it because he was overweight. Now, if they would have offered him Arthur Beterbiev after he lost the belt on the scale this time, then I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of you not fighting him now? You just lost your belt on the scale. You didn't make 68. So fight at 75. But that wasn't the case. Now, if you was talking about the second time, then you had some argument. But the first time, he didn't lose it on the scale.
This is the thing I'm saying, man. The guy is too big for the division, man. If he's too big for the division,
he wasn't at that time.
I think David Benavidez is like 5'11", man. Which in his case,
David Benavidez is 6'1". He wasn't
6'1".
He wasn't too big for that weight class. He didn't lose his belt on the scale. He lost his belt to some other stuff. Not on the scale. The second time he lost it on the scale.
I'll say this though, man. I just can't believe the kind of like excuses you make for this guy.
I'm not making no excuses. I'm telling you what the facts are. You call it excuses. I'm telling you what the facts are.
Hey, let me ask you this: what did you think about that fight with Anthony Yarde? You think Anthony Yarde can win a title at 175 before he retires, or is it just out of the question?
Yeah, he can make it if he fights longer than Bivol and Beterbiev. Because as long as they the champions, he ain't beating neither one of them.
You don't think he can beat Bivol?
No.
So you think the only person that can beat Bivol is Beterbiev?
Yeah. At 175 right now, yeah.
So that being said, you don't see nobody getting a belt anytime soon. And Mauricio Sulaiman came out recently and let everybody know that there will be no unification. That he was stripped. They basically let it know because They were talking about, don't, he got a fight in February, Beterbiev does. But they kind of made it clear. He made it clear on the radio that he would strip Beterbiev before he let him unify the championship. Is that bad for boxing, man?
Yeah, it is in a way because these two guys want to fight for undisputed. So if you're not trying to make the undisputed fight, what's the purpose of them niggas fighting for your belt?
Hey, but the
What's the
funny thing
purpose?
about this, let me ask you this. Is boxing more corrupt now than it's ever been?
I don't know because it was a lot of corruption back in the day. So I don't know if it's more corrupt now. I think it might have been more corrupt back in the day. I think it might have been more corrupt back then because we didn't have social media. We wasn't getting all the insight that we're getting now as they did. I mean, and compared to back in the day. So I don't know. I mean, it could very well be as corrupt. I don't think it's more corrupt.
Well, let me ask you this. So when you see a guy like Maxie Hughes get robbed of the biggest fight of his life, doesn't that change the trajectory of his career?
It could. I don't know if it will. It could.
I mean, because when you go in there and you beat a former undisputed champion like George Kambosos, man, you should get full credit for something like that. You don't think so?
I mean, he beat a former unified champion, but he got robbed of. But like I said, it could change the outlook in his career, but it's a matter of will he let it because he can use that as fuel to go out there and make sure he knock out everybody that he get in the ring with.
Yeah, I think in Maxie Hughes' case that won't be the case because he's not the most powerful guy, and I don't think he really. Honestly, I'll tell you this: I think that was his big shot, and I'll just say this: for him to get robbed in such a way, man, it's just like it almost is like when Loma got robbed by Devin Haney. It's just one of them things you can almost never come back from. I don't think Loma will be the same after being robbed like he was versus Devin Haney. You think he will?
He wasn't robbed by Devin Haney. What are you talking about?
I thought you said you could see it as a draw. You told me you could see it as a draw.
I can see it as a draw. I can see it at people saying Loma won. I can see it people saying Devin won. But that doesn't mean that he was robbed because the judges say Devin won. I just say it was that close that I could see it going either way. But I didn't. That's not a robbery. It just means the fight was close. Now, robbery is when you say Loma clearly won the fight, but they gave it to Devin. That wasn't the case. It was a close fight, and the judges saw it for Devin.
What I'm saying in this fact is that I think what you're missing is he's about to stop Devin Haney in the 11th round. I know you've seen that. He's about to stop that kid.
I mean, whether he was about to stop him or not, that was his fault that he didn't stop him. He chose not to put on the gas. That's his fault. So I'm saying if you had your man hurt and you thought you was about to stop him, and then the next round you let off the gas, that's your own fault. That ain't the judge's fault. That's his fault. He should have went out there and stopped it. Don't leave it to the judges. Stop him.
You cold blooded.
No, if I say, okay, I got a sure enough win if I stop this dude, or I believe the judges might rule in my favor, I'm gonna let the judge. No, I'm gonna go for the surefire win and stop this dude. I'm not gonna leave it up to the judges and think they're gonna give me the fight. No, I'm stopping them.
Well, this is the funny thing about it. I heard Bob Arum, who's been going boxing for almost 50 years, say, "You got robbed tonight, kid." And then I seen Loma cry like a newborn when he lost that fight. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw him cry like a newborn. I know the reason why he cried.
Why did he cry, Free? Why did he cry?
Because he's never going to get another shot at Undisputed. That was his last chance. That man is 35 years old. He's never going to get another shot at Undisputed.
So you don't think Devin Haney would ever run that back?
Doesn't matter if Devin Haney runs it back. Devin Haney don't have the WBC belt. He would have to fight the winner of Edward De Los Santos and Shakur Stevenson to get that belt back before he fight Loma or Undisputed. And he has to win that belt before to be Undisputed again. So unless Devin Haney gets that WBC belt back, he could run it back with Loma, but it won't be for Undisputed.
Well, let me ask you this. So what do you think about the WBO stripping Jermell Charlo on the day of his biggest fight? You think that's fair or foul?
In a way, it's fair I understand what they're doing. I understand what they're doing because we got to remember Tim Tszyu was the mandatory for about 2 years now. He was called as the mandatory. He had to wait aside because Jamel and Brian Castano was fighting for undisputed, and then they had to draw, and then they went back and fought again almost a year later, and then Jamel broke his hand, and because actually I think he was training to fight Tim Tszyu, and he broke his hand,
Yeah, that's
and
what he was
so
training to
that
fight.
yeah, so he broke his hand, so Tim Tszyu had to sit out the ring for damn near not sit out the ring. He had to sit on the sideline waiting to get that title fight for damn near 2 years. So he took another fight with Tony Harrison to stay busy, but then Jamel got the call to fight Canelo, and Jamel said, "I'm gonna fight Canelo." So I mean, I understand why they do it because that man's been waiting for damn near 2 years to fight for that title.
Salute to my brother Marky Dancer. Anyway, he said, "My man Teach said I agree with them stripping him of the belt." I guess it's okay to strip him of the belt, but I just think, man, why are you stripping him the night of the biggest fight of his life? So when he beats Canelo, he could be undisputed at two divisions simultaneously. That's like some UFC stuff, man. Like, I think it kind of sucks. Go ahead.
No, I mean it's he still will be undisputed because they said they stripping him once that bell rang for round one. He will be stripped of the WBO belt. So him going into the fight, he's still the undisputed champion. So it's undisputed versus undisputed. So if he loses, he still will be considered the undisputed champion at 54 because Tim Tszyu hasn't fought for that belt. I mean, we know that Tim Tszyu is going to be elevated, but I still see him as a two-time undisputed if he wins the fight and simultaneously. I still see it that way because Tim Tszyu don't have the belt per se. He's been elevated, but he literally don't have the belt until he fights.
Well, let me ask you this: What do you think about Jamel Charlo saying that he wants to fight David Benavidez next?
That's what he's supposed to do.
But why would he say that and not fight the real monster, David Morrell? Why would he like take the easy route and be the guy because he would be Benavidez to death?
That's not the easy route. That's not the easy route because for one, the winner of Boo Boo and David Benavidez is mandated to fight the winner of Canelo versus Jamel, or they'll be stripped of the WBC title. So that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to fight David Benavidez, and so he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. If David Benavidez is the winner in that fight against Boo Boo, which I believe he will be, he's supposed to fight David Benavidez next if he beats Jamel. I mean, if he beats Canelo, he's supposed to.
So you saying that, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying, are you counting out how good how good Boo Boo is? Are you counting out how good because he looked so bad that last fight?
I believe for one, he had a long layoff. That's one of the reasons why he looked so bad. And two, I just don't think he's good enough to beat David Benavidez.
I mean, can I
just don't think he's good enough.
Who has David Benavidez fought that's got you convinced that he's just this monster? That's the part that I'm kind of confused.
I never say he was a monster. I say he's a monster to Canelo. I never said he was a monster because I told you the monster is David Morrell. That's the monster. He's the monster. I never say David Benavidez is a monster. He's just a monster to Canelo.
So if Canelo beats Charlo, stops David, and stops Morrell, does that make him the greatest Mexican of all time?
If Canelo, you say Canelo do what?
If Canelo was able to beat Jamel and then stop David and stop Morrell, would that make him the greatest Mexican of all time or would that make him better than Oscar De La Hoya as the greatest Mexican of all time?
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is if he beats those guys, I would have to put Canelo ahead of Floyd because when you see a guy like Canelo, man, this dude took all the risks.
You can't put him ahead of somebody that whooped his ass.
How is that?
That's like saying you putting him ahead of Bibble. Bibble whooped his ass, and that man don't want to rematch him at 68. Bibble said, "No, you ain't got to fight me at 75 because you said it was too much for you, so I'll fight you at 68." He don't want to fight him at 68.
He priced himself out. You heard Bibble say he didn't want the same
That
deal
man
that
ain't
Canelo
price.
offered
That
him
man ain't
last
price
time.
himself. That man ain't price himself out. He said, I don't want the same payday that I got for the fight that when I fought you the first time because I beat you. I want more money." He didn't say what the money was. He said, "I want more money. I don't want the same payday. I beat you."
Hey, salute to my brother, man, Marky Dan. Hey, you know what it is, and you said it best. You said it best, Marky Dan. I think Bibble is scared of Canelo because he might have lit a fire under this kid, and he might mess around and get knocked out. Because if you watch that fight, don't get me wrong, Bibble definitely went to work. The in and out
Yo,
was
yeah,
just beautiful. It was flawless.
do you know how crazy that sounds? Do you know how crazy that sounds? You said you think
What
Bibble is scared. But Bivol is the one saying, "I'm going to go to your weight class," which means he will have to drain himself down to fight at his weight class and fight him. Not that, okay, we can fight again at 75. He said, "I will go down to your weight class and fight you." He's not scared. Canelo is scared. Canelo don't want to lose his belt to Bivol.
I mean, but this is the thing. He gonna lose his belt to Charlo. So is it better to lose him to Charlo, or losing to Bivol? What do you think?
I mean,
Because
it's actually better to lose the Bivol. It's better to lose the Bivol. It's better to lose the Bivol. Because at least you got a built-in excuse. That man is a bigger fighter, and you fought somebody that was much bigger than you than to lose to a guy that just fought 2 weight classes below you. Like literally just fought 2 weight classes, and he had a 16-month layoff because he broke his hand. He'd been out of the ring for 16 months, and he just fought at 54. So you lose to Jamel is a much worse defeat than losing to Bivol.
But we got to remember, man, Jamel Charlo is the most talented fighter that Derek James has ever had. So, I mean, we got to keep that real as well. I mean, when we see Jamel Charlo, man, I'm telling you, man, what you're seeing with Jamel Charlo is not normal, man. This dude really went up to 168.
I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but it's still a worse defeat to lose to Jamel than it is to lose to Bivol the second time. Because, like I said, you have a built-in excuse why you lost to Bivol. That man already beat you at 175, and now he came down to 68 to fight you. Your built-in excuse is the man is a bigger fighter. He's a bigger fighter. He was a weight bully. He came down to my weight, and he bullied me. You got a built-in excuse if you lose the Bivol. You don't have no excuse if you lose to Jamel. There's no excuse why you lost to Jamel, except for he was a better fighter than you. That's the only excuse. He's better than you.
Well, Canelo always struggles with athletic guys. That's the thing that I'm trying to get you to understand. I think Jamel is so athletic. I think that's going to be the problem when it comes to Canelo. I think because to tell you the truth, man, if you look at Canelo's as a whole, I mean, I don't think we've seen a better fighter this generation of fighters, man. Whether it's Chance Crawford, whether it's Errol Spence, I don't think we've seen a better fighter, really than Canelo. Only person I could say that might give Canelo a run for his money is probably that kid Inoue, because Inoue looked like a Chinese Sugar Ray Leonard, man. So
I want to say that because I mean you gotta put Terrence Crawford in that category, regardless of how we felt about that fight with Earl Spence. He's the only fighter. He's the only fighter out of those guys that you named. He's the only fighter that fought somebody that was top 5 on the pound for pound and beat him.
But Canelo's done that a bunch of times.
Canelo ain't fight nobody in the top 5 pound. Who did he fight and beat that was top 5 pound for pound?
He beat Sugar Shane Mosley, who was on to pound for pound. Miguel Cotto was pound for pound before.
Not at that time. I'm talking about at the time that he beat
Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev was pound for pound.
He wasn't on the top 5 pound for pound at that time. I said at the time that Canelo beat him. Not what it was before. At the time that Canelo beat him.
What about Austin Trout? Austin Trout? What about Austin Trout?
Austin Trout was never on no pound for pound list. You already know that.
He was top 10.
No, he was not. No,
Austin Trout was a monster, dude.
Whether he was a monster or not, he wasn't on the pound for pound. Just because he's a monster don't mean he's on the pound. David Benavidez, a lot of people believe he's a monster. He ain't on pound for pound. David Morrell is a monster. He ain't on the pound for pound. Just because you're a monster, he don't mean you're on pound for pound. Tank Davis is a monster. He ain't on the pound for pound now.
Hey, so basically what you're telling me is that you're not giving Canelo his credit for all those big names on his record.
I'm just saying I wouldn't say that Canelo is the best fighter of this generation because you got a guy that won undisputed in 2 weight classes. Canelo had the opportunity to do it and he chose not to do it. He could have been 3 division weight undisputed. He could have won it at 54 if he would have fought those guys, and then he could have won it at 60 if he would have fought Boo Boo, and then he won it at 68. He could have been a 3 division undisputed champion, something that never happened.
I think Canelo is a 5 division champion, correct? Or
he is a 5 division champion. I mean, whether it's 5, 4, whether I think it is 5, but
isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing that what's that kid's name? Dang, I just lost his name. Marvin Hagler? Not Marvin Hagler. What's the guy? Tommy Hearns. Isn't Tommy Hearns a 5 division champion? I think he was the first 5 division champion, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have to go back and look.
But what I'm saying is when you mention Canelo,
Triple G was top 3. Triple G was top. They did have Triple G on there.
Okay, I forgot. And see, I forgot about Triple G. Triple G, some say is better than Bernard Executioner Hopkins, and some said that he could have beat Roy Jones. I don't believe that, but some say he could have beat Roy Jones at middleweight.
No, he wouldn't have beat Roy Jones. That man didn't even want to fight he didn't even want to fight Ward, so he wouldn't have beat no goddamn Roy Jones. He didn't even want to fight Ward.
Yeah, Ward was a different level because I seen Ward actually beat a guy who was better than him and Carl Froch. Like he beat a guy who was better than him, and it's like he raised his level to another level, and Carl Froch couldn't reach it. Because to me, that was the best fight I ever seen Andre Ward in was with him versus Carl Froch, because that was a 50-50 fight. And if Carl Froch would have had some type of power, man, he would have got Andre out of there. What do you think about that?
No.
He said, I can understand BBO anyway has a lot more weight classes to go, though. Anyway has a chance to be a 6-7 division champion. He said, anyway, go ahead. I was going to read a couple he said if Anyway does that, he be better than those guys. Triple G was top 3. Miguel Cotto was top 10 with Canelo beat him. Thank you for helping me. My box historian, Marky Dan, comes through again with Miguel Cotto. And remember, Miguel Cotto was the lineal middleweight champion when Canelo fought him. So I think the Canelo disrespect has to stop, man. This kid is the greatest fighter that we've seen in this new generation. I think he's better than Terrence Crawford.
That still doesn't take away from what I said. I said this man had the opportunity to be 3 division undisputed. Whether he's a 5 division champion or not, he had a chance to be a 3 division undisputed champion. That is something that's unheard of. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever done it. He would have been a 3 division undisputed champion. He would go down in history as one of the best fighters of all times. Being 3 division undisputed.
I think you can put him. I'll put it like this. I think he's ahead of one of my favorite fighters of all time. I think he's better than James Toney because of his discipline. Not more talented, but I think his discipline has him better than James Toney. What do you think?
Oh, Canelo?
Yes.
I mean, I can see that.
And I would
I'm not saying Canelo's a bad fighter.
You're not saying he's a great fighter, but you're not saying he's a great fighter. That's what I'm trying to get. Why are you not saying he's not?
I'm saying there's an argument to have Terrence Crawford in that conversation as the greatest fighter of this generation. There's an argument for that. That man is 2-time undisputed.
I mean,
it's argument for that.
But he beat Errol Spence. I mean, that's his best fight. Who was Errol Spence, man? Errol Spence isn't better than what's the guy's name that he beat? He's not better than Sergey Kovalev. He's not better than Sugar Shane Mosley.
I'm not comparing Errol Spence to none of that. I'm talking
I'm comparing his best win. That's what I'm saying. His best win Canelo's best
I
win.
mean, yeah, Canelo got a lot of great wins. He got a lot of great wins. I'm not taking that from him at all.
And
Now,
I'll ask my.
Canelo has the best resume in the sport of boxing. He has the best resume in the sport of boxing, but that doesn't mean that he's the best fighter in the sport of boxing. He has the best resume.
This is a question I asked to my man in the chat, Marky Dan. Marky Dan, what would you say? What would you say that Canelo has been in boxing? Because I know Marky Dan go back to the doggone 30s with it. You really can't. I can't. You
cut out, BBO.
It's part of his generation, man.
You cut out.
I said, I don't know. I said, I would have to just say, man, Canelo has been hands down the best fighter of his generation. I don't think nobody touching that kid.
No, as far as his resume, no. I don't see nobody having a resume that he has as far as his resume, but that has nothing to do with who's a better fighter. Just because you have a great resume doesn't mean that you're the best fighter. Because we know there's a lot of people that have good resumes. That doesn't mean they're the best fighter. Because if Canelo was the best fighter, then he will be ranked number 1 pound for pound.
Well, I'm gonna say this before we get out of here. We're gonna be covering that Canelo versus Charlo fight. 300 subscribers away from becoming 2,000. So as soon as we do that, we're giving away and let me get your final prediction to be open for the fight. Who you got winning that fight, Free?
Jamel versus Canelo. I'm gonna go with my heart say Jamel. I want Jamel to win, but my first mind believed that Canelo was going to win. I want Jamel to win, but my mind say that Canelo's going to win. It's a 50-50 fight. Like I said, I got to see how Jamel looks at 168, and if Canelo looks anything like he looked his last 3 fights, I don't think he has a chance with Jamel. I don't think he has a chance of beating Jamel if he look anything like the last 3 fights. BBO dropped off. Oh, there you go.
Okay, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But what I was
saying my heart says Jamel, but my mind says Canelo. But I just don't know. It's a 50-50 fight because I don't know what Jamel is going to look like at 168. And if Canelo looks anything like he looked in the last 3 fights, he don't have a chance with Jamel.
I'll say this, man. That's a great point. He said if Canelo beats Mel, that bumps him up a bit for sure. And salute to my man Marky Dan, speaking the truth, said I agree. For this generation, he's the most accomplished. It's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
I would say this. I would say that once Jamel beats Canelo, I hope that he gets his credit. Because for him to step up, that's some Roberto Duran type stuff. And I hope he gets his credit.
No, he's going to get his credit. He's going to get his credit because for the simple fact, he moved up 2 weight classes and he beat Canelo. A lot of people still got Canelo as one of the best fighters in the world. So he moved up and he 2 weight classes and he beat Canelo, especially if it's in dramatic fashion. He's going to get his credit. Whether people want to give it to him or not, he's going to get it.
I'm gonna say this. This fight reminds me of Amanda Nunes when she fought Ronda Rousey, and I say that because I know how much Jamel looks up to Canelo. You can see it in the press conference. He looks up to him, and if he could beat his hero, man, that'd be huge, man. My man said, actually, let me logically say 60-40 Canelo. Mel has been inactive, and he's moving up. Canelo has been inactive. and he's been at the weight class. 40% is still a chance. Can't count Mel out. But we're going to get out of here. I don't know if y'all heard me, but we're only 300 subscribers away from being at 2,000. Me and my brother D Free, we giving away a PS5. So if once we get there, I'm gonna do a drawing. We're gonna come up with something. We're gonna give away. You get Madden 2K24, or you'll get NBA 24, whatever. You get whatever the new game is. My bad. And it's gonna come with 2 controllers. But keep in mind this: when it comes to this boxing talk, when I come in here with D Free, y'all know I'm gonna beat him every time. Pause. So what's your last words till we get to the fight, man? You said you're going with my final choice is Jamel. What's your final choice before we get out of here?
My final thoughts is it's 50-50. It can go either way. I mean, I don't have no dog in this race. This is a 50-50 fight. I'm a favorite Canelo just because of exactly what Teach said. What Teach said. Jamel's been inactive for 16 months, so I don't know how his hand is gonna look. I don't know how he's gonna carry the weight. So it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm gonna lean towards Canelo winning this fight.
My man, your daddy says Charlo will be nice for the first, second, and third round, but he will start to fade once Canelo starts to land clean shots, and he'll probably stop Mel in the late rounds. He said Barrios beat Ugas, Lubin beats Jesus.
Nah,
You
he ain't beating no Jesus. I don't see him beating Jesus. Barrios maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Barrios maybe. I don't see Lubin winning that fight. I see Lubin might probably getting stopped in the later rounds. I see him probably getting stopped. I'll be surprised if Lubin win that fight. I'd be surprised. But I mean, Lubin is a good fighter, but I'd be surprised if Lubin win that fight. I mean, Ramos is a monster. He's a monster.
Hey, but like we always say, man, it's your boy BBO. It's your boy D Free, aka the Oscar hater, the same man that say Ring Magazine don't count.
I told you I just got finished doing an interview with a guy from Ring Magazine. He was the editor of Ring Magazine. I did an interview last Friday with him.
Yeah. But that being said, we're gonna be back Saturday. We might come back Friday if we want to. We're gonna come back Friday to give our little, pep for the fight, because it's about to be a big fight, y'all. That's gonna be the last big fight of the year, man. So we gotta enjoy it. Because only thing I'm surprised about is not sold out. That's the only thing I'm shocked about. The fight is not sold out. But we'll be back. It's your boy. Salute the Kwiku in the chat. We gone. Peace.
Peace.